Okay, so more news also coming in on that terror attack that has taken place in Tral in South Kashmir, wherein we hear that terrorists hurled grenades at a police party. The incident took place in a very crowded area, which has numerous number of shops and also a bus stop. All the buses, in fact, stop at that place. There are many people who have also been injured in this grenade attack. That's the latest. 2 civilians have tragically lost their life in this grenade attack, in the terror attack. And this is the latest that we're getting in on the terrorist attack, with the terrorists hurling grenades at the police party in Pulwama's Tral. 2 civilians have been killed in that terror attack. Several other injuries have been reported. They are now being administered treatment. The terrorists hurled grenade on the police party at a bus stand in Tral area of Pulwama district in Jammu and Kashmir. And our correspondent was also telling us that how crowded this place is, because there are a number of shops. It's a bus stand. All the buses, in fact, converge at this very location. People board the buses from here itself, and that is where the terror attack has taken place. Some unfortunate bit of news also coming in, with 2 civilians losing their lives in the grenade attack by terrorists. Terrorists lobbed grenade. We are still awaiting for more details and updates as to how many security personnel, how many civilians have been injured. But these are the visuals of the destruction that was caused when those terrorists lobbed grenades at a police party. We're still awaiting more details on just how many policemen were there at that point. Was this a temporary post that had been put up? Because it's a very crowded area, several shops, as you can see, and shouts and we can hear, noises out there. People in panic. There's a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety. And this is the latest, with the terrorists hurling grenades at the police party in Pulwama's Tral. 2 civilians have been killed in this latest terror attack. Very unfortunate bit of news coming in right now. We're just waiting for more details on this incident that has caused much panic, cries, shouts that one can hear in the background, and viewer discretion is also advised, because one can see just how horrific the attack must have been. 2 grenades, that's what we hear. 2 terrorists launching those grenades at the police party. The policemen there were clearly the target. This is the latest attack on the security forces by the terrorists. Shuja ul Haq is with us now. Shuja, give us more details, give us more update. We are just taking our viewers through the information coming in about these terrorists hurling grenades at the police party at this bus stand, at this very crowded area. 2 civilians tragically have lost their lives. What kind of assistance is being given to the civilians who have sustained injuries, and just how many policemen were there at that time of the attack?
Well, Avantika, the unfortunate piece of news that is coming in is that the 2 civilians who were critically injured have succumbed to their injuries. One of them is a lady. What we are also been given to understand is that a lot of people have sustained injuries, some of them minor injuries. This includes the police and the paramilitary force Jawans as well. The total number of those people who have sustained injuries is close to 2 dozen. Now, what we have been given to understand is that there was security deployment made as a high-profile visit was happening to the area. Minister was touring the entire area, and that's why security was deployed. It seems that these militants have hurled the grenade at the security deployment that was made. And since it is a busy marketplace, it is the bus station of the township, a lot of people thronged to this area. Because the grenade exploded on the ground, a lot of people who were walking around, who were present at that point of time, got splinter injuries. Now, most of them have been shifted to the hospitals and are being treated. Police is saying that they've already started a manhunt. They're trying to figure out who the people were who lobbed this grenade.
Absolutely, but tell me something, Shuja. As you rightly mentioned, this is a bus stand, it's a very crowded area, and obviously the target was to cause maximum harm. But do we know do we have any more details about the police party? Was this a temporary post? Because you said that this was an area where all the buses come and all the people, they board these buses if they have to travel to any other place. Any more details coming in as to how many people or how many security personnel were part of this police party?
Well, like I was pointing out, since it was a deployment made, usually CRPF, is deployed in these areas to maintain peripheral security in marketplaces or in these areas. Now, they seem to be the target. The grenade was hurled at them. That's why there are so many injuries of the security forces as well. Close to 7 CRPF personnel have sustained injuries. There are, other people, civilians who also have gotten splinter injuries. The number of people who were at that point present at something that one really cannot put a count to, because it is a marketplace, it is a bus station. A lot of people go to take buses for various areas of South Kashmir, and at the same time, there are many people who do their usual, who use their usual shopping from this area. That's why the number of injuries is huge.
Oh yes, absolutely. Such a tragedy. And this, Shuja, has been the latest in the series of attacks by terrorists on security forces, and Tral being the hotbed of violence in South Kashmir.
Well, certainly there have been many attacks that have been mounted at the security forces in South Kashmir, and Tral is one of the areas which has been always volatile. It is considered in one of the sensitive zones. There has been an effort been made by security forces constantly to increase their activity in the area, but the number of militants, particularly local boys who have picked up guns and have joined organizations like Hizbul Mujahideen, are also a lot. I mean, there are reports of disturbing reports, in fact, which have been published off and on about the number of local boys who have gone in and joined militancy. So yes, it has been a very difficult area for the security forces to deal with, despite all their efforts, despite upping the ante against militant organizations. It does seem that these areas of South Kashmir continue to cause trouble when it comes to the security scenario.
But there was some peace for some time, Shuja, and the Home Minister in fact has also visited Kashmir so many times and promising to reach out as much to the people, to the youngsters of Jammu and Kashmir, and visiting very sensitive areas as well. In fact, many describe his visit and him making a statement that he's coming with an open mind and an open heart as very heartwarming and very welcoming.
Well, yes, there have been visits being made by the Home Minister and other, officials from the centre of late. But Avantika, let's be reasonable here to understand the ground realities. There are visitors that come from outside, but the fact remains that the situation has really not been conducive enough, particularly in South Kashmir, from right from 2016, when we saw that the unrest that took place after Burhan Wani's killing in that encounter. After that unrest, constantly there have been reports of people, youngsters joining in militant groups, particularly in these areas of South Kashmir. In fact, some of the reports which were published quoting the official sources were suggesting that close to 100 boys were still active in these areas of South Kashmir. While there are efforts being done, but at some level, many people are suggesting that looking at the ground realities, it perhaps seems that not enough is being done. I mean, there needs to be a multi-pronged strategy to reach out to people, particularly those who have picked up guns, particularly those youngsters who seem to be sort of on the other side of the fence. So, putting all of this together, if one has to give a bigger picture, things, are better than 2016. But when it comes to the incident of militancy, there is a steady increase in the incidents of militancy as well, particularly in the areas of South Kashmir.
Tell me something, Shuja. What about the state government? What about the present Chief Minister? How much has she contributed in trying to bring the youth of South Kashmir or otherwise into the mainstream? How much of work has happened on the state government's front to ensure the same?
Well, Avantika, when questions are raised, when criticism is mounted, it certainly is, pointed towards both, towards the state government as well and the central government as well. Because at the end of the day, both are responsible for, maintaining the law and order and ensuring that things are peaceful and calm in the valley. We've seen both of them struggling on the ground. While there has been views made by local leaders, particularly of PDP, who is the party which is leading this coalition in the state, suggesting that they have all, they wanted the centre to do more in terms of reaching out politically to the people of Jammu and Kashmir. At the same time, there are a lot of people who are criticizing them as well. I mean, they cannot, as a ruling party, they cannot just completely, pass the blame on the centre. But like I was pointing out, overall, when it comes to Kashmir and the situation on the ground, it has been something that a lot of people have pointed towards. The effort needs to be made both by the centre and the state to reach out to people, to ensure that multi-pronged strategy is adopted, both in controlling the militancy as well as reaching out and calming down the tempers when it comes to youngsters, particularly in these areas of South Kashmir and rural belts.
Visuals from Tral in Srinagar, wherein a terrorist attack has taken place just a short while back. Terrorists throwing grenades near a bus stand, opening fire. The target was the police patrol group. There have been 8 injuries, 8 CRPF personnel who have sustained serious injuries, and 2 civilians have tragically lost their lives. Just a short while back, I spoke to DGP, Jammu and Kashmir Police, Mr. SP Vaid. Let's listen in. Joining us now is SP Vaid, DGP of the Jammu and Kashmir Police. Sir, an unfortunate incident that has taken place in Tral. We're just hearing that 2 civilians have lost their lives. Can you give us a latest update, please?
Latest update is, as per the reports I have received, 2 civilians are dead. One of them is lady, one is a gent, and 10 civilians have been admitted in Tral hospital. And 4 policemen and 8 CRPF men have got injuries, including 1 executive engineer. So their reinforcement has been rushed to the spot along with senior officers.
So, any more information as to what exactly happened? Do we have a count on just how many terrorists were there? Did they only lob grenades or did they open fire as well at the police party?
I don't have more details than this. I'm still in the process of collecting details.
And so what kind of assistance is being provided to those who have sustained injuries? Because we received the visuals and it's a very crowded market area and the bus stand.
It was near bus stand. So they are being treated by doctors in the hospital. We'll see what assistance more is required. If they need to be shifted to Srinagar, we'll do that.
All right, sir. And are operations right now presently on to identify just who these terrorists were?
That's right. Thank you.
All right, Mr. SP Vaid there. Thank you so much for joining us. So that's the latest. 2 deaths have been confirmed. 8 CRPF personnel have sustained injuries after terrorists lobbed grenades at them and then opened fire in Tral. Operations presently are on to identify those terrorists. This is a busy, a very crowded area. It has several shops, markets, fruits, vegetable shops. It's a bus stand wherein all the buses come in and passengers board these buses to go to other places in Srinagar. In fact, Tral is located about 25 miles south of Srinagar. 2 civilians have been killed. That's the latest. 2 civilians have been killed and 8 security personnel have sustained injuries. The confirmation coming in from the DGP of Jammu and Kashmir Police, Mr. SP Vaid. A very tragic incident that has taken place after terrorists lobbed grenades near a busy bus stand in the very crowded area. So that's the latest, and we're also hearing that all assistance is being given to those who have received injuries. We are still awaiting for more details, but that's the news that we have just received about the terror attack that took place in Tral in South Kashmir, 25 miles south of Srinagar. Terrorists lobbing grenades at a police party, attacking them. And we're also showing the visuals of that busy marketplace, of the busy bus stand where the incident took place. Operations are right now in full swing to identify the terrorists. Okay, so that's the news that we're just getting in right now. And the latest information that all we have right now, that 2 civilians have been confirmed dead. 8 CRPF personnel have sustained injuries. The terrorists lobbed grenades at this police party. And terrorists, in fact, immediately ran from the area. Operations presently are in full swing to identify the attackers. This is what SP Vaid, the DGP of the Jammu and Kashmir Police, had to tell India Today a short while back. Joining us now is SP Vaid, DGP of the Jammu and Kashmir Police. An unfortunate incident that has taken place in Tral. We're just hearing that 2 civilians have lost their lives. Can you give us a latest update, please?
Latest update is, as per the reports I have received, 2 civilians are dead. One of them is lady, one is a gent, and 10 civilians have been admitted in Tral hospital. And 4 policemen and 8 CRPF men have got injuries, including 1 executive engineer. So their reinforcement has been rushed to the spot along with senior officers.
So, any more information as to what exactly happened? Do we have a count on just how many terrorists were they? Did they only lob grenades or did they open fire as well at the police party?
I don't have more details than this. I'm still in the process of collecting details. Yeah. And
so what kind of assistance is being provided to those who have sustained injuries? Because we received the visuals and it's a very crowded market area and the bus stand.
It was near bus stand. So they are being treated by doctors in the hospital. We'll see what assistance more is required. If they need to be shifted to Srinagar, we'll do that.
All right, sir. And are operations right now presently on to identify just who these terrorists were?
That's right. Thank you.
All right, Mr. SP Vaid there. Thank you so much for joining us. Shujaul Haq now joins us with the latest information on this terror attack at Tral near Srinagar. Shuja, the last time I spoke to you, you confirmed the death of 2 civilians and 8 CRPF personnel receiving injuries. Any latest information coming in on the death count?
Well, Avantika, more, unfortunate news trickling in. Now we are getting to know that another civilian who was injured has also succumbed. Though officially the police department is maintaining 2 civilians, but we are getting to know from our sources that another civilian who was shifted to hospital has also succumbed. So if that is correct, then the death toll would be 3, while as close to 24 other people who are in which which includes the security forces are injured and are being treated at various hospitals in South Kashmir, and some are in fact being brought to Srinagar as well. Now what we know is that a high profile visit was taking place to the area. There was a minister who was supposed to inaugurate a project, and that's why deployment of security forces, paramilitary forces and the police was made, and it seems that the attack was mounted on that deployment in itself. The first brunt was taken by the people who were around that security vehicle on which this a grenade was lobbed. As we've been maintaining, it is a busy place. It is very near to the bus station of Tral township. There are a lot of shops there, vendors who sell vegetables.
Yes, and we can see that. We can see that, Shuja. Very disturbing visuals there of the screams and the cries in the background. We also have with us retired Lieutenant General Raj Kandian right now joining us on the broadcast. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you so much for speaking to us. We've been just seeing the visuals, very disturbing visuals of the destruction caused by this terror attack at Tral near Srinagar. Obviously, their target was this police party that was, manning the bus stand, a crowded area. What are your thoughts on an attack like this?
Yes, Avantika, this is a sad attack. We lost, I think, 2 civilians already. Our heart goes out to them. If you see the pattern, 2 things are clear. Firstly, the terror activities are now confined to a very small area on South Kashmir. From rest of the areas, the security forces have been able to sanitize the situation and have been able to eliminate terrorists, including a large number of their prominent leaders. Number 2, the pattern of attack is now targeting soft targets, like civilians. You target a bus stand. Even police is relatively a soft target because police has to move in civil areas. It is impossible. It might be taken prima facie as a weakness on the part of the security forces that they can't prevent the attack. Prevention of terror attacks is literally impossible. People who have come, who determined to cause damage and are prepared to die, there is no defense. If you want to really stop these terror attacks, then we have to tackle the source from where they originate.
Right, sir. Thank you so much for joining us on India Today.